Journal. Welcome to the Brazil Expect Journal. The BJ you can trust to be around every once in a while. Guys, it's been a hard end of the year for me. My goodness. I really made a commitment to myself that I wanted to keep up with the BJ because I love doing this show. I really do. As tired as I am sometimes at night. But to do that, I need time. And like I said, I got stuck with these terrible hours at the school where I work. I work at a high school for those that don't know. And I work with little kids, so sometimes my voice is shot just, from working with these little kids. And I managed to remove myself from those hours around, April or so. And I was so happy. I was like, I'm going to focus back on my little podcast, which I love. And thank you guys for listening. Thank you for subscribing. We hit 1,000. That was my goal for this year, to hit 1,000, because I was like, I got to get back on and we got to build this audience here. So thank you for that. But then the teacher that got hired, she wasn't that great, unfortunately. And she also had some other issues that she's dealing with. So I hope she gets well soon. But then I got back, they pulled me back. It's like the Godfather 3. I tried to get out, but they pulled me back in. You guys, it's really rough, especially end of the year. Like last year, I canceled everything, including my private classes, because we had this event for the parents and the kids. Man, my brain. And then the week before that was like Halloween. So my mind has been. Oh, and also the open mic that I helped organize downtown. Thank you, everybody that watched my version of God Bless the Child. I think it's got 3,000, 4,000 views. Really love that because that song is very special to me, and that version is really special to me that I did. So that's been my life, guys. So I know life is. Yesterday was like, man, it's been 2 weeks. You're not on. If you want to know what's going on with me more on a day-to-day level, I encourage you to follow me on Instagram. There I post almost every day. I post either a funny little video or just, me saying, hey, this is what's going on, etc., etc. So that's where I'm going to be. Okay, I'm going to be in the on Instagram or TikTok as Phil in Brazil. I managed to change my TikTok name to something easier for you to find. So you can find me on TikTok. I just put up a video, and I'm not going to show it to you because the internet, as usual, is a little shaky here in Brazil, especially with StreamYard. Pete knows. Pete's there. I'm going to say hi to him in a second. That the internet is a little funky, so sometimes when I try to show videos here on StreamYard, it doesn't work. But I posted a nice video of walking around Butantã. On YouTube, they don't let you put music on there, so it's just me talking, which it's still cool. But if you go on Instagram, I did the same video, but it's got this soundtrack of Banda Black Rio. If you've never heard Banda Black Rio, you should. These are the funkiest brothers, man. It's like a mix of Earth, Wind, and Fire, but with the Brazilian side to it and all these harmonies that they put, and with the samba and the funk. Man, Banda Black Rio. So check that out on my Instagram page. And actually, I can't even play it because YouTube will probably give me a copyright strike. They're little pieces of what. And I'm trying. Pete, by the way, let me say hi to Pete. Pete, we got to cut down on the cursing because I just realized on YouTube, sometimes they stop your video from showing up on searches if you have too many bad words. Apparently, it is what it is. Pete's a saint. He doesn't curse that much, so it shouldn't be difficult for him. Me, on the other hand. Pete, we got a good show tonight, man. We got Mario on. I met him this weekend. He's from the tri-state DC area, and he's down here in Brazil. And we just hung out. Actually, he has a video on his page. I'm going to show you that right now, if I can. And we'll have him on in a second, guys. He's waiting in the background. Where's my share your screen? There you go. Follow his page. Rolling with Rio. There it is. And who's that big-headed guy right there? That big head is my head. So we did a little bit of music. Um, the audio for the music part was a little off because he had this microphone on my lapel and I sing quite loud. So I think the microphone couldn't handle it. But once we get to talking, it's kind of fun, you know. So maybe you want to jump to like the 10-minute mark and we talk about just life down here, you know, general stuff, how things are. Bolsonaro's in jail, by the way, Peter. How you feel
Yes,
about
figured. Indifferent.
that? You know what? I'm happy he's in jail. He deserves to be in jail. But the only thing is, he should be sharing a cell with Lula. That's the only thing. I'm an equal opportunity hater. Um, but yeah, guys. So Bolsonaro, he was on the little, what do you call it? The what do you call those things, Pete? The
The ankle bracelet.
ankle bracelet, and he tried to cut through it. And there's videos of this. You should watch it because it's pretty funny when the lady is inspecting it and turning it. And I think he had a what do you call those, Pete? A solding knife to sold.
Soldering knife.
Soldering, yeah, soldering. I get my Portuguese and English mixed up after a while. Here's soldar, and in English, soldering. Yeah, so he used a soldering knife to try to cut through. And his son said that it was not an escape attempt. It was a moment of desperation, which I'm sure we all have. You know, I'm sure a lot of people had during the coronavirus when he was saying, "Hey, I'm not an undertaker." You know, so yeah, he's not in jail because of the corona stuff, but other stuff. So read up on that. That's what's happening in Brazil. Other than it's expensive as fuck to live down here. Ooh, I said a bad word. But I want to get this brother on, guys, because he was very generous to come on the show last minute. He's only going to be here till maybe this weekend, and I just want to talk about him, with him about his first impressions of Brazil, talk some food, where he's living, etc., etc. So let's get him in. What's up, Mister Mario? What's up, life is, by the way.
What's
How you
good?
Hey.
doing?
What's good, everybody?
How is
One, two,
everybody
one,
doing? The
two.
audio's okay. Guys, if I mute you, it's because there's a lot of feedback. Don't get upset. It's nothing personal. But if you're not speaking, if you could mute yourself, that would be cool. Uh, Mr. Mario, let's start from the beginning. In fact, I'm going to mute you right now because I'm going to ask you a question here. We got a little feedback. And Mario, I'm going to give you the stage, brother, because I want you to give us like the short version of one, where you're from, okay? And two, how Brazil got on your radar. Like, what made you come down here? So the floor is yours. I'm going to mute myself now. See, I'm an equal opportunity muter too. Here we go.
Okay. What's good, everybody? My name is Rio, aka Mario. Born and raised in Southeast DC, Washington DC. My grandfather is from Jamaica. Grandmother is from Trinidad. Um, so I'm a mixed American. Um, have roots also with Scottish rights in Britain. Have family in London, in Brixton. They call it Little Jamaica in London. Um, uh, my impressions. You want me to go ahead and go off my impressions of
Well,
Brazil?
actually, no. First, I want to know because from my conversations with you, I gathered. By the way, when you're speaking, get real close to that mic. Um, I gathered that you traveled a bit. And so my question that I always have for the expats that come on is what put Brazil on your radar? That's what I really want to know first.
Well, I was supposed to go to Rio some years back, and I never got a chance to go. So I was like, well, I'm not looking for just a uh, random, traveling like I was doing before, going to different countries and meeting women and politicking and chilling. And, I got to the point where I wanted to learn the languages in the countries that I would visit. Not just learn the languages, but embrace the culture. Not just embrace the culture, embrace the music. Not just embrace the music, embrace the food. So my culinary skills and what I wanted to do and music and everything, it just mixed up with everything I love to do. And that's why Rolling with Rio is not just traveling. It's music, it's art, it's a little bit of everything. And I'm not a, like I tell people, I'm not a passport bro. I'm just a man with a passport. You feel me? An international man, a multicultural man with a passport. So what made me go to Brazil was the culture and the Brazilian culture. And it's so funny that I wanted to find out so much about the black community in Brazil because of we always hear about so many different things in so many different countries, and people speculate and say whatever they want to say about these countries, but they don't actually know, or they don't give themselves the opportunity to travel. They stay stuck in the U.S. or stuck in their own country. So I try to um, find culture wherever I go, and I would like to see what people don't believe. As like when I went to Russia, it's a black community in Russia. There are black Thais, there are black Japanese. I mean, it's crazy that some of the things that people don't know and they just over speculate just out of ignorance because they don't know. So some of the reason for why I traveled to Brazil is so funny because it was Black Awareness Month, and the week in which I travel, not the week, the third week or second week in which I travel here, I, got fortunate to bump into that situation. I wanted to look into Cobra's art. I've seen some of his art in LA. I've seen some of his art in New York. So I was like, let me see Cobra's art in Sao Paulo, where he's actually born and bred. So it's a whole lot of things with me. It's culture, it's food, it's music. I got to play some samba music on the box drum. I can't remember what the drum is called, but they had the same kind of drum in Puerto Rico.
It's the
And
cajon. A
oh,
cajon.
Cajon. Okay, yeah, yeah. But hey, I played some music, and then they was interested because my roots is Caribbean and DC go go. So they was like, "Oh my God, he's killing this." I almost broke it. Like I was killing it. But we had fun. I wish I could have recorded or had somebody recording me as I was playing, but it's all good. I got like one like hand on it and hitting it, and then I had the microphone trying to show myself doing it, so that don't work. So you know that's where you have your little assistant comes in, so they can catch all the footage that you can.
Let me
But
ask you. I'm gonna cut in a little bit. One second. Let me just. Okay, there you go. Let me cut in real quick and ask you, around what time was this? And as you're thinking about that too, what were your first impressions when you got here? Because obviously you came back and you're expressing a lot of detailing, a lot of great experiences that you had down here, but did you feel a connection that was different? That because we spoke about that also on Saturday, how there black folks are everywhere. We're everywhere. But did you feel anything different in Brazil? I'm asking this because there are expats that do feel something different, especially when they're into the Afro tourism and they come to Bahia or they meet black folks in Brazil. They feel something different. So I want to ask you that and about when was this? Floor is yours again.
okay, you kind of put me on blast, like I kind of put you on the spot during your interview. But and by the way, I want to say this while I'm on before I get into that I am trying to upload a 18-minute YouTube that I have you in, and I do have the music playing. All you're gonna be surprised. It turned out really good. The sound quality is really good. Um, but it's just that time we were recording, it was raining. The mic was a little too close. I didn't know your range and was gonna be that loud for the mic. The mic picks up real good, but you're really good at being vocal. So actually I didn't need the mic
Old
because you
school.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You didn't need the mic really because you were doing it. But as you can see the delay in it, after the delay from the weather, it picked back up. It was no delay. It started going off like you said. We had a good dialogue and conversation from that. But I have a good video that YouTube is not uploading. So I'm gonna keep trying to upload it. And then I'm gonna post. That's why I took the post down at a time because when you upload, YouTube has priority on people that has like thousands of followers, and you don't get looked at until they feel like it's necessary to upload your stuff. I guess I don't know, man. But let me not talk too negative. Let me get back on topic. Um, so, like we talked about when and the now shoes on my foot, when I came to Brazil, I did see cultural differences, and we did have a conversation about that. And I was really in question about light skin, dark skin. And I know in the U.S. we do have a situation like anywhere else in another country when it comes to a light skinned group of people and a dark skinned group of people when they're all supposed to be a certain nationality, I should say, um, like light skin black, dark skin black. So in Brazil, I started noticing in different areas um, that there was a difference in culture, and you didn't see as many dark skin or black Brazilians versus the light skin um, how could I say, Portugal or Spain or white or light colored Brazilians versus dark skin. So I started questioning myself, could it be the same as in the US when it comes to light skinned blacks and dark skinned blacks? There's uh,
Like
a difference.
colorism. You're wondering if there's colorism.
Yeah. Let me be real. It's racism. It's a colorism situation, and I think it's truly just apparent. I mean, to me, it was really apparent in how some get treated. And I noticed when I was riding the subway, um, going by the favelas and all of these different things, that people talk about and all that good stuff. But the whole point is we made an assessment as we were talking, and we had somebody else involved, and they were clearly in denial. But the whole thing is there is a difference in color. There is a colorism situation, where if you're not fair skinned then you're on the opposite side of the tracks in a sense. It's not saying that they discredit you totally, but you're looked at differently. I personally see it. It's not outright,
Well,
but
let me stop you for a second because you brought up a good point here, and guys, we're talking here tonight about just his impressions. Okay, so everybody's gonna have their impressions when they come down here. It's gonna have a lot to do with your experience, who you are, and that's something weird about Brazil too, because people have totally different experiences, but it's based a lot on who you are, but and where you're coming from. But you are living out, if I'm allowed to say, out in the suburbs, far from about what 2 hours from the central area of Sao Paulo. So I want you to tell me how you ended up there, because that's not very common, especially for first timers or even second timers in Brazil. Although I think Pete's lived in well, no, but you weren't that far, Pete. You were like in the Quebrada, but you're still kind of close to downtown in Butantã. But you're out there, man. How did you end up out there? And how is what do you notice in difference of how people are treated out there versus how people are treated when you're in the Paulista area or where we were, like Butantã, Pinheiros? What is that for you? How's that like?
it's, uh,
Oh, sorry
in
about that.
in this
Start again. Start again. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
okay, I'll say this in this area, um, it's diverse, just like most parts of, I guess you could say, the southern area. But you can still tell a difference. You get what I'm saying as far as your tone, your skin tone. But it's so funny that they were calling me fake American. A couple people said fake American. I didn't know if they were saying I'm faking Brazilian or I'm faking American because I want to be Brazilian. I don't know because I guess they were thrown off because I had my little sandals on and my T-shirt and
Oh,
my
okay.
skin
Yeah.
complexion looked like a Brazilian, but I didn't talk full Portuguese.
Nah, they're just messing with you. Look,
Yeah,
one thing
yeah,
Brazilians love, I think everybody kind of loves this,
yeah. I
is
learned that.
when you show love to their culture. So they're like, man, you're not really an American, you're a Brazilian. Once you get
Yeah.
invited to your first churrasco,
Oh my
you're
God.
like you're Brazilian,
Oh, I was
like
family.
that's yeah.
But
Now,
because, like I said, I was chilling. My girls' folks, they invited me to a Brazilian barbecue. That's my first official Brazilian barbecue. Now I went to Brazilian barbecue in the States, but this right here, it was to the top. It was I meant from the sauces to the flavor of the meats. It's just like everything was just perfect, and they just kept giving me kasasha and mixed kasashas and beers, and man, like I told you, I almost missed my appointment with you the next day. Matter of fact, I think we had to reschedule, for us to
no,
go out and meet. But yeah, it's like I was, what, 2 hours away, where I am now. It's like 2 hours and 15, 20 minutes or so, from the area we met. Um, it's really diverse here. I haven't really seen a lot of uh, skin tone situations, but I do notice, even for me being a lighter complexion, black like yourself, it's still a different treatment. You know what I mean? It's not a bad treatment, but it's a skeptical feel, I guess.
wait, but you
Like,
say this is in the central area, but you feel that also out in the suburbs?
yes, in a sense, I do. It depends on who you encounter. Like, you go to certain stores and stuff. People will talk to you, treat you the same, and everything. But I noticed too. You got some darker complexioned Brazilians. You can come in and start talking and this, and they'll laugh and talk a little bit, and then they'll let them sit down. I was in the doctor's office. Walking by and going in the doctor's office, because I told you I got my yellow fever shot here again. I know I'm a little off topic, but let me just give you a synopsis or situation. I ended up getting my yellow fever shot again here in Brazil because I cannot remember where I got it from to get my paperwork. So I ended up getting it here. So while I was there, I could just, even there, it was just differences in how I saw. I mean, universally, I meant they have a love for each other, period, because of the dialect. That's the
Hmm.
dialogue, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. The dialect is the dialogue. Now, I'm quite sure, being a person of color and you not knowing if I'm Portuguese, I mean, if I'm Brazilian or not, because I'm not speaking Portuguese yet.
Hmm.
But it's still without me talking, I still feel that light skin, dark skin complex or situation
No,
or
this is
colorism.
guys. What he's explaining here, we've spoken about before at length, and it's just something that's just a reality in Brazil. Unfortunately, a sad reality uh, in Brazil. But aside from that, I want to get into just other stuff, including food. And especially given your background, because you told us you come from a mixed heritage, Trinidad and Jamaica. A lot of people are curious about not just the food, but also just the style of the people here. Because when you think of Brazil, well, Brazil is a Latin country. It's not Caribbean, but Latin. So there's certain expectations that I think people have who live in the US or live in America of what Latin culture is, whatever stereotype you want to put behind that. But it's usually that fire and caliente and dancing and spicy food. And, that's, I think, the imaginary version of what Latin America is. But, and I think Mario is going to explain this a little bit, not exactly like that. And I want you to give the audience, Mario, kind of a vision of what Brazilians are, aside from all the race stuff, which is real and it's true. But I just want just every day, how are these people treating you? How are you feeling? And what are these differences that you can see?
Now back to that, it's all love. It's all love. Like you said, whether it's a camaraderie or love and bond of a natural affection, or if it's a just I'm a passerby type of love. it's still love. They give you love regardless of what. Like that's what I do appreciate. And as far as the spices and everything, oh, this is gonna be a good one. Um, do not believe what people tell you. The spiciest food to me, to them in the world, is Jamaican and Trinidad food. They do not like spice, man. Spice is a compliment here. Spice is a condiment here. They put spices on the side to give you a choice whether you want fire or not. And you got to understand, you guys, that if you're in if you're in Brazil, if you're in Portugal, if you're in Spain, they're all Latin, but they're all Italian influence. The root word for Italy is Latin. If you do your history and do your research, you'll see that. So with Italian cuisine, it's not spicy. It's flavorful, but it's lightly flavored. And I've seen some of the most, and this is again the most what I thought was going to be the ethnic meal, the bangingest flavorful meal tastes just like a expensive Italian dish with no with really light flavors, really light. Even the meat is perfect. It's just they have more of an Italian vibe when it comes to their eating. Their eating is cheese, bread, and coffee for breakfast. Let's keep it real. In America we eat heavy. We eat fried potatoes, sausage, scrambled eggs, scrambled cheese eggs. I'm gonna get on Biggie tip. Cheese eggs, Welch's grape. What I mean, steak. This is breakfast. But for them, it's a sweet cup of coffee and some cheese, or a sweet cup of coffee and some bread, or you know, some scrambled eggs, or what they call an omelet. There's so many things that I have tasted. When I made my food here, I made some curry chicken, right? Oh my God. They was like, oh my God, it's spicy. This is hot. But they were eating it out of respect. They loved it, but they were like, it's hot. Then I
Yeah, they
made
can't handle real spice here, most Brazilians.
yeah.
They
But see,
consider
and
like
that's
the spiciest cuisine here Bahia food, and it's not spicy at all.
and I was under the misconception before I came that okay, only thing spicy is the dancing. Now the dancing is spicy. Now it's Latin, oriented. So, but as far as the food, and not gonna say when you see the people, you see the dancing, and you think that culture is just about it, like it's like that. The flavor, everything is about to be bomb, and you get there and it's fine dining basically. It's Italian based food. Like even the way they cook it, I taste so many different rices that look pale or white and have so much flavor. I was like, wow, it's not even really salty. It's not really, it's good. Like it's so many things that I appreciate what a pinch of salt does for things, you know, and I'm trying to say a pinch of spice, but hey man, I
Yeah.
didn't even do too much, and they were like, it was fire. I didn't. I just did it restaurant quality, like how we would, do at a restaurant for curry chicken,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
it was
Let,
still too spicy.
no, let me tell you, with this spice situation, guys, that's one big difference. And I'm looking up here real quick. While you were talking, Mario, I was trying to get the breakdown of Europeans here. So, of course, the Portuguese second largest is Italian, and then Spanish and German. Uh, this is from ChatGPT, so trust that as you will. And what he's saying as far as the cuisine is that a lot of it is influenced from right here, and German too. As you get down to the south, there's a lot of German influence. There's even little cities in in Brazil where they speak German dialects. If you go down to the south, that's why a lot of Nazis came here. I think, perhaps, after the war, they ended up in Argentina. There's actually a good documentary about the Nazi that ended up here, and he lived in Rio de Janeiro for a while. I think he had a bed and breakfast. So interesting story. I think it's Frontline or something did a documentary on that. Anyway, back to what I was saying here with the European influence. Um, like the most famous dish in Brazil, the feijoada, which, by the way, I just learned that that is possibly a myth. You know, they say that feijoada was made from the scraps left over. The slaves made it through the scraps left over from the main dish. But I was reading up on feijoada because somebody asked about it in the group, and apparently, there's different versions of the dish depending on where you are in Brazil. So I was looking that up, and as I'm looking that up, I'm seeing all these kind of scholarly articles talking about how that's probably possibly a myth, because really feijoada is just a version of a very popular Portuguese dish, which the name escapes me. And it's just kind of Brazilianized and probably does have a little bit of African influence in there and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that was interesting about feijoada, but it's a Portuguese dish. It's not spicy at all. It's heavy. When you eat feijoada, you will need to, wash it down. Did you wash down your feijoada, Mario, with some cachaça?
Bro, I washed it down with cassava, pineapples, oranges, uh, papaya. I washed it down with everything. But
Yes, it's heavy. It's heavy,
yeah,
and
but
then
good.
it's
You
delicious.
know what?
But look, but the other dishes here that are also popular, they're all heavy. Like my favorite is this one called Baião de Dois. It's heavy as fuck. Like after you eat that, you gotta sleep for a week. So you're getting that influence, getting a lot of farm dishes because there's a lot of fertile farmland here. So you're not getting usually seafood, stuff with seafood brings out the spices. If you go to Bahia, you might luck out. Now, I'll give you just a little word of warning, and I will get right back to Mario. Uh, I actually wrote a piece on my blog about this back when I used to blog, and I like that article. Um, I had some hot sauce here that it's like that shit will kill you. Every once in a while, especially get to these very north, like after Bahia states, that would be like going into the deep south in the US. And it's closer to the Caribbean. So who knows? Maybe that influences it. But you get to those states like Pará, Sergipe, Ceará, man, those motherfuckers will kill you with some of those hot sauces. And I was kind of on that. Oh, this isn't hot. This isn't hot. Every time somebody would told me this hot sauce is spicy, be careful. It's like drinking water. Until the one time I fucked up. I fucked around and I found out because man, that shit was hot. And the guy was like, "Yeah, I made this one in my basement." And I was like, "All right, let me try it." Man, that was like hooch. It was really so. Be careful if you're traveling, if you're on holiday and you're north of Bahia. Just try a little bit, especially if you go to those little corner restaurants. Not the big name stuff where the motherfuckers make shit in their basement. You might fuck around and find out, and that shit is hot, hot. Anyway, that was my little story. I want to find out a little bit more about the foods that you love down here in Brazil because I know you like to eat. I love to eat. We all do.
Well, man, I'm gonna tell you this: like the fish water, that was one of the biggest things that I wanted to try when I came to Brazil because I've seen so many things about it and how customarily or traditionally that they had the fresh water, usually on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays only, right? Um, but I also love the flavor of it because it puts me in mind of like it's the reverse bean to the New Orleans red beans. Um, and it's really the same almost. If you do the research and you think about the cuisine in New Orleans, that's Creole, right? It's French and Creole. So that's also of Latin descent. But see, in New Orleans, they use the red bean. Now, I'm a chef too, you know what I mean? So I'm a foodie at that. So they use the red bean. But if you notice what goes into the New Orleans red beans and rice, it's like smoked ham hocks, sausage, pork, you know, bay leaf, onion, all of those things. But on the reverse aspect of it, in Brazil, when they do the feijoada, it's black bean, and then they use a higher grade of steak. They use a higher grade of pork. They use a higher
Yeah.
grade of, oh my god, like it was a fusion of, I was tasting Jamaican, Creole, I was tasting everything in this one dish. I was so happy because of the flavor. The flavor of the dish was so good. And
And I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, Mario, you
and
know what you can do if you get a nice hot sauce, like not what they're serving there, but I can help you when you come back. Get you some really hot sauces. You pour some on that feijoada, and you'll be in heaven.
bro got a hot sauce here that he made with olive oil and all kinds of peppers and pieces of garlic that's been marinating, and
Yeah.
the flavor of it tastes so good. It's fire. I put it on my face water. Oh my god, on the chunks of pork and the right, man, I was like, this is fire. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. But it just show you that it in New Orleans, red beans and rice is really not hot. But me and the Caribbeans in Jamaica and Trinidad, they make also a bean dish that's similar, but as
Hmm.
you use coconut milk. You
Ah.
know, and it's good. It's really good. They use coconut milk. You use several different meats like the sausage. It's almost like the reverse to the New Orleans red beans and rice. So that's what I'm saying. The feijoada, you could tell the Latin and the Creole descent involved with the cooking, and you can see how, like I tell people, how Latin, or the root word of Italy is Latin, and Latin is in every, and African is in every culture of food that we eat, no matter how light the spice. The spices are similar, it's just different ways in using them. When you use the spices differently, the whole dish tastes different. Like you can sit there and have the same ingredients in a bowl. I could sit there and have the same ingredients in a bowl, but how we marinate that meat for one, and for two, how we use those spices. Because if you cook in spice levels, you're gonna have different outcomes to people's taste buds. So it was a beautiful thing. That so Feijoada was the number one thing I really wanted to taste when I got here, and the next thing was the pastries and everything.
Listen, as you're talking here, I was looking up some dishes that I think you should try. Okay, and I want you to looking at it, see if it reminds you of anything, because that's another thing that's interesting. I liked how you gave that connection to Trinidadian dishes and also New Orleans dishes. See if it reminds you of anything, because there's a lot of mixing down here in Brazil. It's really
Yes.
cool how you described feijoada as being this blend of all these different foods that you love. And one thing that I think becomes a magnet, it makes people fall in love with Brazil, not just with the food, is that it is like an amalgam. Brazil is not one thing. And it's not like the American version of, oh, we're a melting pot, but really everybody's just like fucking trying to kill each other. Here, despite the racism and the colorism and the thisism and thatism, somehow Brazilians kind of just figure it out. And as they say, the famous phrase here, it ends in pizza. It's like, what the fuck? You go for a loop here. And it's a lovely way for you to describe the food that way. So that was really nice. But let's look at some food here and see if this is anything similar to what you've seen before. Let me share the screen. Give me a second here. All right, first is my favorite dish in Brazil, baião de dois, and it's like a sausage. Wait up, let me just mute you for just a second here. It's a sausage rice. It's what you see there, but it's a piece of sausage. It's a little drier. It's not as wet as a feijoada. What do you think about this, Mario?
Let's see. Now that now that looks like what we would call a festival. Is that rice? Is
Yes,
that right?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
that looks like to me what we call festival rice. And in Jamaica and Trinidad, we make a rice called festival rice. What it is Just like you said in the slavery days, how people had the misconception of fresh water as being scraps, and the festival rice actually is scraps. It's the jerk chicken, it's the curry chicken, it's the different sauces that you add to it, and you put peas, carrots, onions, garlic, ginger, red sweet pepper, green sweet pepper. You stir fry it, add a little soy sauce, believe it or not. And people don't believe how soy
What?
sauce is. Yep, people don't believe how soy sauce is in some Caribbean cuisines, and people don't understand that the Orient and Orientals have migrated to Trinidad and Jamaica as well. I have friends that are Jamaican Chinese. They were born in Jamaica. So you got to understand, man, Jamaica and Trinidad is a mixing pot too, just like Brazil. It is crazy. The hidden gems you will see when you go, it's not what you expect. And you will see these people, blonde hair, blue eyes. You would think that, oh, they're just visiting. No, they've lived there for years. Fluent.
That's
Dan-
crazy
dance.
because it's such
Hey,
a small area.
hey, look, dance better than a black girl in New Jersey. You hear me? I'm just telling you, like real talk. And then this dish what we make a pilau. It's called a pilau. It's like a
Uh-huh.
one pot. We also make a festival rice, and we make something also called pilau. But here in Brazil, they call it's pele, Pella, or something
Uh-huh.
like that. Here in Brazil, we make a what's called a pilau, and I think they also make a pilau in Puerto Rico.
Pilau. So this is interesting, man, because I'm looking at this. One, it sounds delicious, and two, it reminds me a little bit of the Bayonji dois, but I think more of this other dish here. Look at this. Wait up. What is it called? Wait. I'm gonna put it right on top of this. It's called arrumadinho. It's a really great dish from the Northeast. But the thing here, they put a little bit more of the meat, but it's kind of
Okay.
similar style, where they just kind of throw everything on the plate. You know,
Right, right. Now that yeah, that's another one of those dishes I think that that's
jerk
a
meat.
Latin influence because if you look at it, it looks more so Mexican. You get what I'm saying? If you look
Yeah.
at the Latin descent, you see the meat separated from the yellow rice. You can see cilantro. You can see pork or beef, whatever's in it.
Hmm.
I'm just a foodie, y'all. I'm just
Yeah.
guessing
I think
what I'm
it's jerk.
seeing.
They use jerk meat. That's very
Okay, or they
popular in the
jerk
north.
pork or something
Yeah.
like that that's in there.
Yeah.
But the influences are almost the same. And it's so
Uh-huh.
funny. I'm thinking about the fresh water. Let me tell you what I think that is now. Think about it. It's in reverse. In Jamaica and Trinidad, we use the black bean and rice. So we say rice and pea, right? We make rice and pea. So basically, it's the ultimate rice and pea. It's like a super cycle of rice and pea. Like, instead of us doing the coconut rice and pea or the regular rice and pea, um, with the fresh water, it's like everything in it over
Mhm.
rice. You know what I mean? It's like the ultimate rice and pea. But as a dish by itself, you just eating that, bro. You full. I mean, I just had some not too long ago, bro, and I can't get enough. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
hey, I'm
This is
cooking for
the
them this. I'm cooking for them this Sunday. So I'm doing a Latin dish. It's going to be on the borderline Italian. It's not going to be fire. It's going to be seafood. It's going to be shrimp and mussel pasta, making fresh marinara, garlic, fresh parsley, basil. So I'm hooking them up with something, light that ain't spicy, so they can see that I got skills that ain't just spice.
But look, I'm gonna give you a tip here with just the if you cilantro. Brazilians don't really like cilantro a lot. I've had issues with that, so just be aware. I don't know if you said cilantro in that mix. I heard basil and this and
Yeah,
the
well,
other.
yeah, yeah, but I'm not gonna mix cilantro or culantro with this dish. It's
Okay,
going to be
good.
basically garlic. Yeah, garlic and mace
Okay.
and
Yeah,
parsley.
and I want you to give me your honest feedback on what they say because it's interesting with Brazilians. It's a real split. Like what we would, which is not like it's normal. It's like you grow up with a certain palate, and then you get hit with something so different. Some people don't like it, and some people like it. And I've had it's never kind of in the middle with Brazilians and American food. Either they go in all the way because it is heavier, than what they're used to. It's funny how we were talking about how Brazilian food is heavy, but it's a heavy that's kind of light at the same time. It's the Brazilian, it's like bipolar. Whereas like in the US, after you eat something like a steak, it's like blah, like if you've had German food before, it's like boom, you're done. It's a potato and this and that. So some of them don't like that. They think the flavor's too strong, even if it's not spicy, and it's just not something that they're into. And it's funny because Americans will have the reverse reaction sometimes with the food here, and they're like, it's bland. It's rice and beans and chicken every day. Rice, beans, and chicken. Rice, beans, and chicken, and they're used to a stronger flavor. It's light food here for Americans. So I'm really curious because I know you can throw down, so it's not going to be a judgment of your cooking, but it'd be a kind of an interesting social experiment to see how they react to that different flavor. I want to get your reaction from that, please.
Yeah, and I spent a couple of days in the kitchen
Uh-huh.
with my folks, and got to see some of the ways that they prepare their marinara and certain dishes and things like that, which I was really highly impressed with a
Yeah.
lot of it, even the way they prepared the rice. But
Mm-hmm.
my whole thing is very similar. Everything is so similar. It's just the process
Mm-hmm.
in which we do it is different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because I can sit there and do the same dish that they make with flavor
Mm-hmm.
versus how light theirs is, but it's still good. I mean,
All right.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So, I mean, we can sit there and have the same spices from ginger all the way to cinnamon, depending on the dish.
Yeah.
And the way we choose to use them and the time in which we choose to add them makes the flavor different.
Very different. It'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
it's
It'll be
bananas.
interesting.
Like,
I
yeah, so
want.
I'm
I
just
want.
curious. They
I'm
loved all the
curious.
food, but it was just the thing of the heat. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I mean, and it was a restaurant quality heat, like the what
Yeah.
we would have in a restaurant in a Jamaican, a good Jamaican or Trini restaurant. It's like how you have that first bite and you could taste the flavor, and then you could
Mm-hmm.
taste the gradual heat. By the time you hit the second bite, you start to taste the gradual heat, and it's not overwhelming, but it's good enough to say, "Oh yeah, that's it. That's that fire. The flavor is good. Boom, 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 like that." You know what I'm
Well, we
saying?
we were talking about this, and Pete, it probably can speak a little bit on this. Is that even with bitterness, like bitter beers are not very popular in Brazil. I get really upset sometimes with the company Baden Baden and Eisenbahn because they make really good beers. They're rich, thick beers, and even the one we had over there, the Colorado, they make some nicer beers. Wait up, the feedback's really bad here, and they don't sell as many of the dark ones. There's like this one called Bach that was delicious, man, from Baden Baden. They stopped making them. Colorado, it's really hard to find that one with the bear, the Demosier, the chocolate or coffee beer, whatever. They're just not into it. I get so mad, man. So, different
I was
strokes for
looking
different
for it.
folks.
I
It's
was
hard, right?
actually looking. Yeah, I was actually looking for it. Me and Fernando was in a couple of stores, and we were going to get some stuff, and I was like, okay, let me find this beer. So I was looking for it even in the can. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find none of it. Like the that one, I was just looking for the band. That's all I was looking for. I knew once I seen it, I knew what it was. And I couldn't find it anywhere. So I settled for he got some other beers pretty good, and then they put me on to a draft wine beer. I don't know if you had it before, but oh my
Yeah,
god.
they got you good. That shit will get
Oh
you
my
drunk so
oh,
fast.
oh my god, it was so good. It was like drinking grape Concord grape soda slash beer. And it's a creeper too. Like you said, I didn't have a lot of it, but it was real good, man. We had some last night too. It was real
It's
good.
this dangerous bottle here. I had to
Yes,
stop
that
drinking
bottle.
this. I had to
Yes,
stop drinking this,
yes.
man.
Somebody
It,
said that they had a in your comments that they have a Jamaican restaurant in Sao Paulo, and they do because I seen a YouTube of him. Someone did an interview of him and stuff. I'm a critic, and I'm not that harsh, but I'm harsh. But if I go somewhere and I taste the food and it's not what I'm thinking it is, and I'm like, bro, where you from? You know what I mean? They might say, well, you're not born in Jamaica, so how do you know? Because my family is Caribbean on both sides, and I can make both dishes, Trini and Jamaican. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, and I make Italian dishes and American dishes, but my favorites are Trini and Jamaican. And anything with Italian to it, I could do it too because the spices are similar to what we use. It's just a delicate way to do it. Now, I'm not gonna do it all Italian way because I'm gonna give you flavor. I'm gonna give you the flavor it's supposed to have, but I'm gonna give you the flavor. You feel what I'm saying? It's
hmm
not gonna be like you're gonna know what it is. You know what I mean? It's just that. But I'm not gonna be overly critical, but I am a critic when I sit down and eat. And if I don't like something, man, hey, you could take this back, or I'll just leave the whole plate.
All right. I think that's enough we can say about that. Anyway, be careful with this little wine thing here.
Oh,
And
definitely.
look at this. We're just gonna take a mini food tour here, real quick. We got food from the South. Actually, food from the South was on this little page here, and I cut it out. Guys, food from the South is just going to be mainly your churrasco. It's going to be meat. A lot of influence from Argentina, Uruguay, where they also have it. They love their churrasco. This dish follows Brazilians, man, some version of it with the rice and a little piece of meat. Got some desserts, but it's going to be this type of food, okay? Cold weather food. Mario, you ended up in a churrascaria. How was that experience?
Oh, for the barbecue.
Yeah.
Oh, that was lit. It's like I said, even though I'm not fluent in Portuguese, they showed me love. I walked through, gave me dap hugs. As soon as I came in, they gave me beers, Kasasha. As soon as I came in, hey, try this meat. They just pulled meat off the grill. I think it was sausage was the first thing I ate. Next thing you know, it was chicken. Next thing you know, it was a piece of pork. Next thing you know, it was a piece of steak. Next thing you know, I was feeling good. And at that point, man, I was like, man. And somebody made a. It wasn't a chutney. It was a strawberry passion fruit. Um,
Oh,
a
dude.
strawberry passion fruit. I guess it wasn't a barbecue sauce, but it was like a topping, like for the meat, and that
Okay.
was so good. I told her it was bomb. But but one thing I didn't like about it is the passion fruit seeds. Like you making the caprinas. It's like those seeds from the passion fruit. If
Yeah.
you could get the flesh away from the seed and then mix the strawberry with it, that would make the most bombest barbecue sauce for pork. Oh my God. It was so good. She did a wonderful job on making that sauce or that
Dude.
chutney. I don't know what you want to call it, but
Yeah, I
it
know
was
what you're
good.
talking about. This little green sauce, but it's
It wasn't
delicious.
even green. It was she made it with strawberries. I was
Uh,
impressed.
okay.
Strawberries and passion fruit.
When you started with the passion fruit, I thought you were gonna talk about the dessert here. It's like I'm not a big dessert guy, but there's this mousse de maracujá that's very popular at the churrascarias. Man,
Okay.
this is delicious.
I
It's a,
think I
it's a
tasted
passion.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
it is
And then I
really
had
good.
one. It was more like a custard or creme brulee. It was
Mm,
more like it was toasted on top, like a creme brulee, and it was had like the glassy top, with the sugar. It was toasted or whatever on top, and you broke through the
mm,
layer. It was good, man. I think me eating the passion fruit seeds at the way that was prepared, like in a Italian cuisine type way,
mm-hmm.
it blended right in with the caramelization of the actual, dish because it was like a caramel crust, like you're doing a banana foster or you're doing a creme brulee or something, and the seed with the crunch of the sugar over top of it mixed right in. You couldn't even really taste, the seed because everything was flavored sweet, so it was good.
All right, moving on to. Oh, let me just get this for a second. Uh, Life is. I see a question here. How are the grocery prices in Brazil compared to the U.S.? How much are we spending to cook a meal for a few people in Brazil? Uh, it's expensive. I mean, if you're thinking in dollars, maybe not too bad, but if you're earning in reais, you're spending a lot. What's your average at the supermarket, Peter? Because, man, I can't go in and out without spending at least 30 to 50. And that's like just to get something quick.
Yeah, I spend about 50 a day. I mean,
Yeah.
right now I'm living pretty cheap because I I have to. A lot of recipes with
Mm-hmm.
mortadella and beans and
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're just going day to day, I mean, getting stuff to make dinner for like 3 days, that's easily going to be 50 reais, which is not that much in dollars, but that's here if you're earning reais, it sucks to drop that much in one shot just to make dinner for a couple nights.
Opa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, Pete, what is Pete is describing there is the reality for a lot of Brazilians. Wait one second here. Is it the reality for a lot of Brazilians? It is expensive. The folks where you're at, do they say anything about prices and stuff like that, Mario?
Well, they are pretty influential family, I guess. So I don't get too much arguments. We've been doing pretty, like crazy dishes here. You know what I mean? And trying, different stuff and going to the markets and buying fresh fruit and meats, and it's really not a discussion. And when and being that I'm from where America, is to me, I'm just excited because I'm getting a break as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not looking at it as I wasn't coming from the Ray Eyes, you know, thought of it. Which, when you think about that and you look at what you're earning, that's something to consider. But like I said, when I do move here, I am going to consider. I'm going to treat things differently. You know what I mean? So I never really it really is not really a big discussion this way. And I never really, I did buy some stuff and then I did some math and just try to see what it was. It still was cheap, but it's still, if I was here and living on that type of budget, then it would be expensive. And if you look at the going rate or salaries per month and everything like that, then yeah, that is kind of pricey for you to do like every day or every other day to spend that kind of money. So yeah, I definitely get it. I don't want to sound like an American privileged person that's just over here like I don't care, it's good, because reality hits when you're actually here, and that's one thing that I noticed that you hit. Reality sinks in from the airport, and once you get here, you have to start thinking, with a critical mindset because just because you can go out here and still hit an expensive restaurant or whatever and spin a grip, even though you're thinking it's Rayod's or whatever. At the end of the day, you get that, those couple of receipts, and you be like, oh wow, you know what I mean? Like, oh man. Oh shoot, I wasn't thinking about it. I'm just thinking I was paying a little less. Yeah, you're paying a little less, but you still paying. And 45, 55, $65, $35, it adds up. You know what I mean? So
This
uh,
is true.
I
This is
yeah.
true. But it's cool. It's cool that you have a an awareness of that, and I think that's why I connected you. I like hanging out with you on Saturday because I see that you are here and you're aware, and I think that's such a good quality to have when you're in another country, regardless of what country you're in. And knowing, hey, I'm in tourist mode right now, which is totally fine. We should dog on somebody because I'm here just to enjoy the place, meet people, have fun, go to all the churrascos, eat a lot of food, cook, and that's cool. But it's cool that you have an awareness of like, but if one day I decide to actually move here, pay taxes here, whatever, become part of this culture in a deeper way, it's nice to be aware even more of like what the reality is for those people around me, even for your own well-being sometimes, because there are a lot of people that don't have a lot here, and it's not always cool to be flashing or things like that, depending on where you are. But look at this, Mario, look at these foods here. I said foods, yes I did. This is food from Rio. Rio. Guys, actually, Rio is not on this list because they do not make very good food. Uh, but this is from Minas Gerais. And this is a place that I told you you need to try out some dishes from Minas Gerais. A lot of them all farm based. The pão de queijo is very famous. The little cheese bread, a lot of bean stuff, a lot of chicken. Man, this is the food that got me chunky when I got down here in Brazil, guys. It's so delicious. It's hearty food. What does this food? Does this food remind you of anything, or is this something totally different for you?
No, I mean, and that this right here looks more so from African descent, um, and Jamaican descent because I look at the greens. The greens look like what we call callaloo in Jamaica or shadow benny in Trinidad. Um, um, it's let's see, if you pull up callaloo, callaloo is a Caribbean spinach, and you add salt fish, which they call bak here, I think, right? Salted codfish. You put that in it. You put pumpkin squash in it. You also put crab and shrimp, and you serve it over rice or eat it as a soup. And some call it pepper soup. So some of these dishes in here definitely looks like the Jamaican and Trinidad dish, and you can see the callaloo right there in that dish. But these look like more of a um, African descent. It look like all you could do is get a ball of fufu and you can dig in. And so it shows you that the cultures are not that far, man. The food is not that far off. It's like it's so good. It's like I can't even explain it. My whole experience was from the music too. I mean, I'm a DJ and I play music too, instruments. So it was everything I was thinking of, just in a lighter version. You get what I'm saying? Not as potent, not as in your face with spices, but everything was everything I expected. Um, the flavors, as far as the pastries and stuff, man, was surprising and light. And I've had the best cappuccino in the world at this little convenient, what you call a convenient convenience store. It's called
Conveniência, conveniência.
convenience. It's called Takata.
Uh-huh.
And they make the best cappuccino. You guys on YouTube, Instagram, my guys here, they make the best cup of cappuccino I've ever had. And
I
I
don't
went to Villa Grande. I went to two other places. and this place makes the best cappuccino
What's the name? What's the name?
in Sao Paulo. It's on my Instagram. It's on my video. It's called Takata,
Let me
Takata,
see here.
and it's on my Instagram. I follow them on my Instagram. I made two videos for them. I went there, and you can see me with the coffee.
Guys, follow. There you
Yeah,
go.
that's them right there. Yeah,
Which
the
one?
first picture. The first picture
This one?
of the
This
girls.
one?
The girls in the aprons. Yep.
The best cup of cappuccino in São Paulo. My new friends in the last cup. Melhor cappuccino. Vila Grande. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, you'd be surprised what you find down here in Brazil in general in São Paulo. So, guys, there's this page here. Oh, there we are. We are here. Who's that?
Whoa. It looks like you with a little entertainment in the picture.
Yes, that's a little bit from our walk. As long
Yes.
as the internet's not dying on me, I might as well show a little bit of this. There's me. You can see a little bit of our conversation there. Let's
But
see.
You're
you
gonna
gonna
say
like the
Phil's a
video.
liar because all I see is some white folks and they're all playing. I don't know what the white people listen to. Celine Dion.
Uh-oh. I'm talking about white people, Pete. There you go. Some food. Oh, the famous torta. Oh, man, I like their pies down here. Very good pies.
Yeah, when they said pie, I was like, I wasn't expecting basically a a chicken pot pie, you know. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's good. I was like, that's really good. I mean, I got so full, and the acai here. Oh my God, hands down. Like I said, man, I
Yeah.
grew up in the hood, so for me to live simple and to move simple is good. I don't mind at all. Wearing shorts and a t-shirt and flip flops. Like I don't care. As long as I'm in a good environment and I'm just meeting people and it's a vibe and I can just be, just relax. You know what I mean? Besides the hustle and bustle of the US and the stress from the US, I haven't had a stressful moment since I've been here.
Well, give it a few more months.
Well,
Anyway,
well,
I'm
I'm quite
messing with
sure.
you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I'm
messing
quite
with you.
sure. I'm quite sure that happened. But that look like what you got. Pictures of curry on here, curry chicken or curry.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But look, I got a question here for you. Question for you. It says here to your guest, are there certain ingredients that you cannot find in Brazil to cook your Jamaican and Trinidadian dishes? Good
Oh my
question.
God, yes, bro. Yes. I had to improvise. I had to improvise on some stuff because I didn't see anything. They had something that looked like Mrs. Dash, so I used it. I tasted it, of course, to see if it had the similar profile or whatever. It was close to the ingredients that was in it, so I used it. So I don't see too much Mrs. Dash, and I know when it comes to browning, I like using a Jamaican browning or make the browning my own browning with brown sugar, not white sugar. White sugar, that's basically a Dominican way of making browning, but I use brown sugar. Um, uh, I look for pimento seeds, but every time you say pimento, it's considered hot
Yes.
and I'm not looking for peppercorns. I'm looking for the actual pimento because like pimento wood in Jamaica, pimento seeds is what you cook with. Pimento wood in Jamaica is what you make traditional smoked jerk with. That's the wood they use to jerk, really, to give that flavor next to the charcoal. So, it's a couple things here that I could use that I don't have, and I try to look into different stuff that I can use to improvise. I made a escaviche. It wasn't fried. It wasn't a whole fish fried. I did a baked escaviche actually. I did garlic butter over the fish, baked it, and then I made what we would make the toppings, the vinegar peppers. It's kind of the sweetness from the onions gives it a little sweetness. Put the lemon in, a little vinegar. Put the sweet red pepper, green pepper in, and you put that over top of the fish. Usually it's a whole fish, scored, marinated, deep fried, and you put the ceviche on top of it. You know, and that's a traditional dish in Jamaica, Trinidad, also in Dominican Republic, also in Puerto Rico. So all the Latin Americas make their own spin on escaviche,
You're
but they
making
use,
me hungry, dude.
bro. I'm making myself hungry right now.
And my boy's here eating. He's eating a little bit of rice and chicken as we speak. So I got that smell going on. So
Hey,
man,
look,
I love
the next
talking
time I
food.
come back, and hopefully I'll be here permanently. I
Mm.
had to. We'll do the podcast, all of us over some dinner, and I'll hook something up.
Oh yes, I'm down for that. Look at this. You asked about these pictures, by the way. These are very popular in Brazil. They're similar dishes. The first one has coconut in it, and my mom
Hmm.
used to make this. It's literally just
Indian influence. That's an Indian
fishy.
influence.
Okay, it's called fishy de coco, literally like coconut and fish.
Hmm.
Um, and this one here.
Actually, Thai. Thai uses a lot of coconut in their Thai curry. They use coconut as their base.
All right, that's I did not know that. And then I think the most popular one of these is the muqueca, which you have to try. But I keep saying either go to like a really, 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 really good Bahian restaurant, which is hard to find in São Paulo because São Paulo's inland and the fish is not as fresh. But
Mhm.
or go to Bahia. Wait till you go to Salvador. You're gonna have the best muqueca of your life. I went to Salvador, guys, 3 years ago. I gotta get back to Bahia, yo. Uh, I think I had muqueca like I was there for like 2 weeks. I must have had it at least 6 to 7 times. It's just like it's the fucking dish, and every place makes it different. And it's like wow, I can't like what you described the fishwada, man. It's like when you eat the muqueca, I can't wait to hear you describe what a muqueca tastes like because it's every great, beautiful flavor ever. And you can add your own hot sauce on top. It is spicy, quote unquote, spicier, but you might want to add a little bit of hot sauce on top of that. It is great, bro. So, and that reminds me of like New Orleans, like paellas, a little bit, but it's a mix of everything. That has a lot of African mix, and they use dende oil there, which some people don't like. It's a little strong. Which is dende is the I forgot what dende is in English. Let me look that up real quick. It's palm oil. Okay, they use palm oil as the base to make the dish.
Okay. Let's
So
see.
just trying to
One,
look.
two, one, two.
Can you hear us? Are you all right? Oof. So anyway, guys, food is the thing. I think when you go to a different country, you really get to know the people by one, the language. So I think it's important you learn a little bit of the language. But two is really the food. Maybe you can throw music in there, but music involves language, so it's all kind of tied in. So I'm glad that you're like exploring and trying to get all these different flavors and then seeing how you can kind of make them your own. And Brazil is all about making things their own. It's because all the dishes here basically are adaptations of other dishes because Brazil is a country of immigrants. It's full of immigrants. You get the indigenous here, which, by the way, we talked about that a couple of weeks back. Go back and listen to that podcast. I think it was number 72 or 71. Really cool podcast with an indigenous fellow. So you get a little bit of that influence, but mostly, yeah, it's like from enslaved Africans. It's from the Portuguese. It's from the Italians. It's from the German, some Dutch. Uh, you did mention Thai, and I thought that's interesting. Pete's lived in Thailand for a little bit, but I wonder how that could be because Thai hasn't been here that long. Like Thai is something that's starting to show up here. So I don't know, unless it's something that the Europeans got from the Thai and then they brought over here, but I don't
Pretty,
know.
pretty much, I think so because Thailand is influenced by Europe. They love Europeans. And any man that you know and may have met that travels, not calling nobody out, but they keep saying, "Hey, I want to find a traditional Thai woman." The traditional Thai woman doesn't want you. They love Europeans. They love lighter skin. If you make it, like myself has talked, I have talked to at least three, and I have at least five on my page that actually got to know me and everything else, and actually like me as a black man. Um, the whole point is it takes a lot for them to step outside of their traditional box, bro. You're not going to say, I want a traditional Thai woman because a traditional Thai woman is not going to want you. A traditional Thai woman is going to want a traditional Thai man. Sad to say that they label traditional Thai men as no good or drunks, excuse me, but it is what it is, and that's what they talk about. But when it comes to the influence of food, they are also influenced too by French cuisine or Italian cuisines. And I was really impressed when I went there to eat their culinary skills, even the little street carts, are to the moon. When I say to the moon, and if he's lived in Thailand, he will tell you their culinary skills is to the moon. Even on the street carts, I'm talking about you get a bowl of noodles, restaurant quality. I'm telling you, I haven't had a bad meal in Thailand from the green curry to whole fish to lobster to shrimp to pad thai to whatever, a bag of fruit. Bro, I haven't had a bad dish in Thailand.
Yeah, it's all good, but the influence of the coconut milk, I think it's just a matter of what's available. I mean, people use what's around to cook, and they grow plenty of coconuts and cocoa in Thailand. There's plenty of coconuts here, so it just kind of gets integrated into the cuisine. You use what's available.
Yeah, and I just think too that in that type dish in certain areas because Indians use um, uh, part of my family, they use goat milk or
Hmm.
milk in some dishes, and they use also coconut in some dishes, and some of it the influence is from other cultures because and like you said, basically because they do grow coconuts there rampantly, and I'm quite sure they can find 1,000 good ways to prepare a coconut. I mean, honest to God, if you live there, they can find out how to multitask and do many a different dishes with one meat or with one fruit or what have you. But my whole point is they do a lot of French caliber cuisines. They do a lot of their own cuisines, but I'm saying you have a melting pot of cuisines in Thailand. You have American, you have a lot of French, even in Bangkok. I've stayed in Bangkok for 3 weeks. I stayed in Phuket first. I was in Phuket for about 2 weeks. Then I went to Pattaya for 3 weeks, and then I finished my last 2 weeks in Phuket before I left out of Phuket Airport. I've been to a lot of countries and tasted food, and I could taste so many different similarities. But then when I go to the more ethnic parts of the country or whatever, and I taste the food too. It tastes similar, but it tastes more earthy, more potent, more spice, more like flavor. And in some places, like in Brazil, it's not because traditionally they were raised off of the way those dishes were prepared. You know, and if they
Yeah,
were prepared in an Italian way, in a light way, then and just think, if you're thinking about slavery and stuff like that, they had to prepare food for who? So therefore, they learned how to cook those increments of little salt, little spice to please the masses. You get what I'm saying?
mm,
So while they those things have traditionally came down to generation, and that's why you have that French cuisine that's so light but yet tasty. So I
yeah.
applaud. I'm just a foodie in general. You know what I mean too, not just a chef per se, but just love good food. You know what I mean?
I can sense that. I got to connect you with my brother Brian. He's a chef too. That's a foodie, and he's been on the channel. He was talking about ayahuasca. We had a nice episode on ayahuasca, guys, way back when. So look that one up. Uh, but yeah, he makes some. He throws down. He's from Georgia. He throws down.
Wh-
He
where did you stay in where did you stay in Thailand?
Pete.
Yeah, when you say Pete was in Thailand?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I lived in the mostly in the Bangkok area,
Okay,
only in the city for about 4 months. And then
okay,
I lived in Pathum Thani, which is a rural province north of Bangkok City. But you can
okay.
still access the city by bus in about 90
Oh yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, the
And
traffic in Bangkok is ridiculous.
yeah, well, I actually I was working at a school in the countryside, so it was just easier than commuting. And I lived in Sarahbury with my girlfriend for a couple months as well.
Yeah, I heard of Sarah Burry.
Sarahbury's like two provinces north of Bangkok. So it's all
Okay,
still the same general area.
okay, okay. All right, that sounds good. I heard of that location. A matter of fact, I think it's a couple folks that I know that moved out there and pretty much retired out there because that was my thing. Either I was gonna move to Thailand, um, but I had second thoughts on it, and I figured I'll move if I go to Brazil because for one, Brazil's 9 to 12 hours to the U.S., so it's quicker if something goes on with my family wise or whatever. I can get back faster. So I think it will be Brazil for me.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a bad. You want to be around Bangkok if you're living in Thailand because that's where the only embassy is, I think, for most countries. So if
Yeah,
you need to deal with anything like visa issues, you don't want to be like riding for 12 hours on a bus.
right. And then definitely that's where a lot of the hospitals and good medical is too. Actually, in Bangkok.
Yeah.
I mean, Phuket has hospitals and whatever, but if you really want to get some stuff done and whatever like that, then it's best to be in Bangkok. Bangkok is basically like New York, but I I don't like the traffic and the emissions there is crazy. Um, but hey, you know what I mean. You got to take the good with the bad, depending on where you want to live. And I like the more beach like front areas because I like fresh air.
Yeah.
uh, so I try my best to, I would visit. I visit Bangkok. Like I went to Labua Tower and a lot of the touristy things. I had an art show that I was supposed to go to, but I couldn't make it. I gotten sick because man, all the fumes and stuff. We got caught in traffic so bad, Pete. It's not even funny. The Uber kept canceling on us and kept trying to take my money. It's like three different Ubers canceled and tried to take my money. And then one guy was talking about he was looking for us. He wasn't looking for us. He couldn't get through traffic. And then we finally got an Uber and we still sat in traffic for another hour and a half after we waited almost an hour and a half for the I meant lift for the lift to come or the grab, either lift or grab. But either way, yeah, we
This
had a
this this is not that uncommon in Brazil. It's funny you're describing this because I thought this was a very Brazil problem, but it seems like it's spread all over. Um, that's their way of trying to make that extra cash, especially when the gas prices are really high. Uh, uh, they
yeah.
uh, they wait for you to cancel or something like, but they don't never come. They just like drive in circles. I don't know. Anyway, Guys, um, I was gonna ask you as you were talking about Thailand, like what is it that made you think more Brazil? And you already answered it, but I just want to say to the audience, those that are thinking about coming to Brazil, uh, what I think a positive of this country, is that you have so much to choose from as far as terrain, and you have a lot of cities to choose from that will have infrastructure, or at least reasonable enough infrastructure. Where if you need hospitals, if you need to get stuff done, you can't escape the bureaucracy and red tape. It is what it is. It's Brazil. Things move slowly, but you can live out in the middle of the country in Brasilia, in Goiás. Those are totally fine cities, that function and operate. You can be closer to the tourist in Rio. Sao Paulo is a working city. You go down to Curitiba in the south, and you're going to get a whole different type of Brazil. Like we were just doing our little food tour. You can see the difference from the foods. The north and northeast is a little tougher, but Recife is a city that has structure. Salvador, very popular for, especially for black expats, because that is, oof, Salvador, Bahia in general, just a whole nother planet, y'all. Even Brazilians say it's the parallel universe. So when you go there, I only met one guy that went there and really did not like it. He landed, had lunch, and left. He's an outlier though. Most people fall in love with Salvador like that. So there's a lot to choose from. So when Mario's talking about his plans, what he wants to do and stay here in Brazil, he's made a great choice, but there's plenty of choices to be made. It's a lot. Uh, Give me a second here. What made Pete choose Brazil over Thailand? All right, let's give Mario. Let's give Pete the floor here because that's a curious question. And Pete, before you answer, let me just say something to the audience. Again, I'm inspired tonight, and that's that, guys. One thing that I really do plan to do, and I was talking to Pete about this, is expand this show. I mean, it's the Brazil Expat Journal, but being an expat, moving around, you end up meeting people that have been to Thailand, have lived in China, have lived in Russia, have been all over. And so I really want to expand the show. I still, the heart of it is always going to be Brazil. But sometimes we might have a guest on that's living in Mexico or out in India, because I do meet a lot of people just from being so active in the expat communities. So tonight's kind of being like a preview of that. We're going a little bit of Thailand, but we'll get back to Brazil in a second. So, Pete, what is it that made you choose Brazil over Thailand?
I didn't. I didn't.
Oh, there you go.
The two experiences were pretty far apart. I lived in Thailand from 2010 to 2011, and then I went back to Canada, largely because as much as I love Thailand as a place to live, it was kind of a shitty place to work. Very bureaucratic. I was having to leave the country every 2 or 3 months to take care of visa issues. I was in a relationship that wasn't really that great there. And to be honest, the religious aspect of Thailand really got on my nerves. It kind of infiltrates every aspect of their culture. And I kind of believe that you got to respect the culture of the country you lived in. And there were a lot of aspects of Thai culture I didn't respect. So I actually went back to Canada because I had a son there I hadn't seen in quite some time. So yeah, I just went back there and chilled. And when I was ready to get back out on the road, I just decided to choose someplace completely different. I did Asia for 6 years, so I figured, why not South America this time?
All right, and that's where you have remained in South
Yeah.
America. Yeah. Uh, cool. Uh, Let me play something right here, Mario. Listen to this right here. All right, welcome to the Expat Challenge, man. Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions, Mario. And oh, sorry, I had you on mute here. Let me unmute you. Sorry about that. Can I? I can't unmute you. What is going on? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I can't unmute the guest, guys. What is going on? Mario, see if you can unmute yourself. But I'm not having any luck here. All right, well, Mario, I'm trying to get his audio back. He needs to take a quiz, man, or else he's not going to make it out of this podcast alive. And we're not going to let an audio issue. Oh, there you go. Mario, you're back. I hear you.
Okay.
All right, so listen up. We got a quiz for you. You got to answer these questions correctly, or I will personally speak to the president, the one in jail and the one out of jail, and say, never let this guy back in this country. So get these answers correct. What is the best thing about Brazil?
What is the best thing about Brazil? It's several things, man. Oh man. For one, I'm going to say number one is the vibe of the people. I'm going to say that. No matter if you speak Portuguese fluently or not, it's still a vibe. And secondly, of the first, of the best is the food. Um, it's kind of hard to say, man. I'm gonna say between the people and the food.
Go ahead, Peter.
To send me the questions, but at the second one, I believe, is what is the worst thing about Brazil?
The worst thing to me was as we faced the flip flop in weather. One minute is hot, next minute it's cold, next minute it's raining, next minute it's cloudy. Then we said it's not gonna rain, then it pours down on us. So I forgot the saying they say in Brazil for the weather, but that did apply that day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think it's more São Paulo, though. The rest of the country is a little bit more stable with the weather. In the north, you're going to get sunny days pretty much all year round. And then in the south, you're going to get cloudy days. People that live in Curitiba complain about that
So
sometimes. That it's
basically, it's
just,
set up like California.
yeah,
You go to
yeah.
certain parts, it doesn't rain. Go to certain parts, it rains. Certain parts is dry. Like, yeah.
Yes. Oh, wait up. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Next, there you go. What is your favorite Brazilian food?
My favorite Brazilian. Repeat that one.
Your favorite Brazilian food. That's going to be a tough one.
Oh man, that is well, that ain't gonna be that tough for me because I've been on water for a minute now, so I'm loving it.
Well, that is the one that you've fallen in love with. But wait till you have a moqueca. Go ahead, Peter.
All right, I still don't have the questions, so I'm going to go with what's your favorite Brazilian beverage?
Come on, Pete. Come on, Pete. We've been doing this for like 100 years. What's your least favorite food, Mario? What's your least favorite
Oh,
food?
okay.
The least, I think the basic buttered toast.
The basic just the butter toast in the morning.
Yeah.
Right,
I
yeah,
mean, I gotta have substance to me. I
yeah.
mean, I gotta have more.
All right, I'm trying to send you these, Pete, but the internet's really bad. So if you don't remember, I'll just run through them. What is your favorite drink?
Wow. Well, the beer you turned me on to was fire.
Mm-hmm.
That draft wine beer that I had was fire.
Uh,
And they put me on cachaça. So, man, it's difficult. I'll say cachaça number one.
yeah. Look. I'm gonna help you with the pronunciation because it's a tough one. It's ka sha sa. Kasha.
Cachaça.
Yeah, kashasa. Kasha. Like
Cachaça.
almost like Kesha, but it's kasha. Kasha
Cacha.
with the sa. Kasha with the sa. All
Mhm,
right.
Cachaça. Yeah.
Next up, what is the best place you have visited in Brazil?
Wow. Mm. Center City,
Center.
Paulista. Yeah.
Okay.
Center City. I visited the cathedral. Um, and then where we did our interview at the college. Uh, I think between the museum and the cathedral, because the cathedral was really artsy, nice. Some centuries old. So it was nice.
Nice. Yeah, Praça da Sé is a very interesting place. And what's next? I'm lost. Now I'm lost here.
I have it now. Yeah.
Okay.
So next is most overrated location or thing.
You said most. What was that? I'm sorry.
Most overrated location or thing.
I'm sorry. Some people may not agree with me. The pastries are good. I haven't really. The food was pretty good too, but their coffee. You got to have it all together for me to get a A plus plus. And I think uh, Villa Grande is a little overrated.
Yeah, coffee here depends. It's like the espressos, but you're getting Nescafe. Like I don't know if that's like a Brazilian. I like some of the coffee from Minas Gerais. We keep circling back to Minas because they just have the best food. Cachaça is mostly from Minas, and they have some really good roasted coffee, man. In fact, I just bought some last week. Man, that coffee was delicious. It's light coffee, but with like such full flavor. It's really good. All right, Mario, I need to know what the best place is that you've been chilling here in Sao Paulo. What's the best place to chill here in Sao Paulo?
With my girl, dog. Let me stop.
Oh,
Uh, let's see. The best place. Da, da, da. I don't know, man. I've been at that coffee shop, like I walk to it, like in the mornings, like just to get the cappuccino. I'm a coffee connoisseur too, man. Oh my goodness.
all right, I gotta
And
get
they
you
make
to
a good
try some.
acai. They make a good acai bowl too. And I just
Uh,
like my regular, and it's good. So
All right. So I guess that brings us to favorite Brazilian musician or band.
man, my folks, my folks Cito plays guitar real good. Um, I haven't gotten a chance to hear a lot of live music here, but I gotta give my man some credit. I gotta give my man Phil some credit for his guitar skills, for his tribute to Jamaica, for his just talent, and want him to keep going because I'm with a group in my city that does a lot of music, spoken words, and poetry. And if you look at some of my videos, you see me with a microphone in my hand. I'm rapping or trying my hand at it. I DJ, I do a little bit of everything, man. So the arts is something that I love, from paintings to music, to DJing to food. Like all of those things are life. It's not just a passport bro thing, just mongering women. It's about actually making a dialogue and earning respect from people and learning languages. So I'll say Phil has been really good and actually follow his YouTube or follow his Instagram just because of his drive and want to be different and play his genre of music and do his thing. So I commend you, Phil.
all right, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take every compliment I can get at this age. Listen, man, but from the heart, thank you very much. But that said, I gotta send you some Brazilian music, man. I mean, I will take being named before like the hundreds of amazing musicians that Brazil has. But I gotta hit you up with some great, great, great Brazilian music, man, because Brazilian music is world class good. It's like some artists here. It's not like this is my favorite Brazilian singer. No, this is just like my favorite singer. Boom. Period. Like put them up there with Ella, with whatever. You can put them up with anybody, especially when you start getting into that '70s MPB. Man, those guys were experimenting, doing stuff that's like out of this world. So I'll hit you up with that. And I'm really enjoying you on the show because you keep giving me good segues. Because if you all want to go back, again, this is like episode 12, like way back when. Pete, my friend Elisa, my friend and Lee, we did a best Brazilian albums thing, and I think we did 2 episodes of it, and it's really cool. You're gonna get a lot of music tips from there, and it's nice because it's coming from Pete's, who's more into the rock and punk scene, which really good albums he put out there. Uh, Lee is more on the rock and roll kind of swingy blues, side of thing, more like a pop rock type thing. Elisa, who's from California, who's been on the show, I think she was my third guest. She does the jazz. She's a jazz singer down here, so she's bringing a lot of that energy. And me, I'm just like all over the place. So you're gonna get, I fill in the blanks with everybody else. So it's a nice mix. So go back and listen to that episode. Um, we're about to finish. I just want to give one little shout out here, Mario, before I ask you our final question, uh, which is a buddy of ours, Sean. Okay. Like I said, I helped run a cultural center downtown, and I apologize. I should have done this at the beginning of the show. Um, but it's here now. He's going to have an event this Saturday for networking, you know, uh, especially for Afro Brazilians, Afro Americans, and that are trying to make that diaspora connection. He's trying to bring that down here. He's originally up there from California. So he's hosting this event on Saturday. I think I'll be, he asked me to be one of the speakers kind of last minute, but I think I got something to say if he does need me. And come check out our space downtown, guys. We got a studio down there. Finally, I say we, but he put a studio down there. But I mean we in the sense that we're all kind of imagining this place becoming a real center, especially for independent artists, just people that need a space to produce their art, show their art. We've been doing a lot of open mics. We managed to do, I think, 3 or 4 this year. It was a little slower because, like I said, it was tough due to all the scheduling stuff this year. It was a rough year, but ended on a high note. And I'm hoping for a really great 2026. And thank you guys for kind of helping that become more of a reality. So if you are in Sao Paulo, reach out to me. My Instagram. It's a little bit, a video montage there he did of some events in the past. So yeah, come out, enjoy that. I'll leave that playing in the background as I ask Mario. I'm going to give you the floor back, Mario, to tell us about, no, tell us advice that you would give, which I think you've given a lot already, but what's your main advice for people coming to Brazil? What would you tell them?
My main advice would be yourself. And I always have this term to say, be easy, be you. You know what I mean? Don't try to be someone you're not. And that's anywhere you travel. Learn some of the language, even if it's basic, learn some of the language. And like I said, get involved, whether you're out eating, try to talk to people, whether you're going to a gas station, it doesn't matter where you are. Try to talk the language, try to use the language, and as long as you're authentic, and being yourself and moving how you move. But you have to be smart. Always keep your wits about you. Be focused. Don't think, walk around clueless with your hands in your pocket or playing with your cell phone and not paying attention, because anything can happen anywhere, man. It doesn't matter where you are, big city, small city, New York, Thailand, Brazil. You got to have your mindset that anything can happen anywhere. So as long as you keep your eyes and your wits about you, you're good anywhere you go. Just try to learn the best you can and move with the flow of things. Because if you move uneasy, you're gonna be a target anywhere you go, and that's for me.
I agree with that 100%. So that's just the truth. Most people out there are helpful. Most people out there are nice. Most people out there are not trying to screw you. Uh, and sometimes you can feel like that's a lot of what Brazil is, because there are a lot of people here that are trying to do exactly that. But it's not as many as you think. If you just think about just moving day to day, not much happens. You just go through life and you meet wonderful people. So thank you for that. Listen, man, it's late. I got a class at 8 a.m. I'm sure you got some stuff to do too. But I do want to thank you for coming on. This was like a really fun episode. Like, when you start getting into the food, man, I had to check myself, or we would be here till 2 a.m.
Yeah, man, food is like life.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
no,
food.
he's not going on about food, not right now. But that was so much fun. It was a pleasure meeting you Saturday, and hopefully you can make it down this Saturday. Downtown. I think you'd enjoy it. And
Yeah,
that's
I'm gonna
open
see
to
what I can
everybody.
do.
Yeah, that's open to everybody. Anyway, I think we're done here. I'm gonna play some my outro music. Give me a second, guys. Let me get all that out of here. Thank you for listening to the Brazil Expat Journal, the BJ you can trust. Will we be on next week? Good question. It's the last week at the high school. It's testing. It's this and that and the third. I may be really tired, so maybe not. But before the end of the year, so maybe the week after, Pete and I are going to do our movie episode. So that gives us like 2 weeks, Pete, to prep for our Brazilian movie episode, which I think is going to be a whole lot of fun. So I'll check you guys out then. But like I said, follow me on Instagram. I'm there. I'm at Phil Ray OFC, or Phil in Brazil on TikTok. And you get a little bit more. You get a sense that, yeah, I'm not dead or anything if I'm gone for 2 weeks. I'm just like really busy. But that's what's going on. Love you guys. Mario, stay on. But I'm about to end the stream, but don't leave. Bye,
All
guys.
right. Cheers.